PGA Golf Tour is back in San Diego. The Genesis Open teed off in a rainstorm today. Nobody was breaking par early at Torrey Pines. This, of course, was the Genesis that was moved from Los Angeles because of the fire. So it's fun. We have another stop on the PGA Tour here in Torrey Pines. A big story is what Rory McIroy had to say Wednesday press conference. Rory McIroy, who's been very vocal about the PGA Tour and LIV Golf, just went real public. And he had a lot of things to say about the civil war that continues to exist. This is the third year of PGA versus LIV. And Rory says, the only word I now want to hear going forward is the word reunification. He says, it's time to end this. He says, we have to move forward. It's time for the guys on the PGA Tour to get over it. It's time for golf to realize that what has happened because of the LIV is unsustainable going forward. Now he's making reference to crowd support's drop. TV ratings have dropped anywhere from 30% down to 40% for both tours. He says the damage has been terrible to both sides. Even though we're all making a lot of money, this cannot go on. And McIlroy, of course, was part of the negotiating team. He's kind of stepped away from that. So that's item one. Item two, Jay Monahan, the head of the PGA Tour, met privately with Donald Trump this past week. He wanted to walk through where the Civil War was because their concern is we come to this agreement, we don't want it to be an antitrust violation. So he presented all the data to Trump. Trump responded, I am a PGA guy. I side with the PGA in this dispute. Whatever determination is made, I want the PGA to run it globally. If LIV wants to be involved, they can run the marketing side of the global tournaments that these guys are expressing. And there's a little bit of a crack in the foundation because the first couple of years, all those guys who left, violated the tour card and won aboard, took all the money from Saudi Arabia to join LIV, they were banned from Grand Slam events. Well, now there's a crack. U.S. Open 2 weeks ago, British Open this past week, have now made available one slot in the U.S. Open or one slot in the British Open for a guy in LIV who's top ranked, either top 3 or top 5 at midseason. If he doesn't meet the qualifying standards to play at the U.S. Open, be a past winner, etc., there's one guy can be taken from LIV's top 5 money winners, will get a guaranteed slot at the U.S. Open and British Open. So they're trying to open the door to allow some of those superstars to come back. The bigger story is the merger talks, PGA, LIV, and the bitterness that still exists that we're not letting Phil Mickelson and Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and all the guys who took the money and ran, we're not going to let them come back without paying a penalty. Rory McIroy says it's time to stop it. Forget it. Let's do something to save the game. I agree with what the guy from Ireland had to say.
Yeah, this is the silliest of all of the disputes that are in the world of sports. But Donald Trump's going to solve the problem, and it's just so Trump to say, the PGA, those are my guys, and I'm going to support my guys, and I want my guys to run the whole thing around the world. And it's not based on any principles; it's just based on his relationships. But he'll get the people to sit down at the table, for sure. But the rest of it is. Rory McIlroy is 100% right. They need to come together and find a way to kiss and make up.
I mean, this is really bad. The PGA TV numbers have collapsed outside of the Masters, the Grand Slams. I will watch the Masters every minute of every day. I'll watch the British Open because I'm fascinated by its history.
Oh, yeah.
I will watch those. The other tournaments, there's hardly any big names left. Granted, we do have Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele when he comes back, but it's not the magnet that grabs you, that drags you in front of the TV. I gotta see this. It's not the era of Tiger versus Phil. It's not the era of, this goes way back in the day, the Golden Bear and Arnie's Army.
Yeah.
So this has to cease. This has to stop. We need a merger. We need a solution to the golf civil war. Rory McIlroy's right. And he's kind of blaming his guys. He says, our guys need to step away from this being in grudge mode against the guys who left and got their payday. We got to find a solution to make this thing better, because what we're doing is, I think, destructive to golf.
Oh, it's completely. And remember back in the day, there would always be like 10 or 15 like big time names,
sure,
that were past success, but you also had some characters like Craig Stadler or
Oh, you're a big John Daly fan.
Yeah,
I
John
know you're
Daly.
drunk.
But they would be in the mix sometimes and made it kind of entertaining. But you're right. You look at the list now, and like I could pick out 2 or 3 guys, and the rest of the leaders I've never heard of. And then you can, like, if you look way down the list, there's some old veterans that are still kind of hanging around. But,
Yeah, and then when you look at the roster of the other guys over in Saudi Arabia, oh, they got marquee names, neon lights. And by the way, when are they playing? Where are they playing? Can I see it on TV?
I know.
Do I want to see it on TV? I don't like the format. There's a lot of negatives over there about LIV too.
Yeah, they're screwing the whole thing up.
Okay. Topics on the table. We've done our job because we do sports talk the way it should be done. It's your turn to join us.